everybody, it's Oksana. Today I'm going to show you how to make a little nest pendant. It looks like this, and it's got little beads in there, look like little eggs. I know there's a ton of these tutorials out there. I was just asked how I make mine, and so I thought that I would make a video on how I do that. I'm not sure if there's anything like new or different about how I do it versus how other people do it. But this is the little nest that I'm going to show you how to make today. So if you want to see, just keep watching. So I have 3 beads here. These are little moonstone beads, and you don't have to do 3. You can do any number you want. These are about 5 millimeters. And then I have 36 inches of this 24 gauge wire. You can use 26 or 24. I have used both. And this is kind of just like a brownish color. It's enameled copper, so it has a coating on it that makes it the color that it is. And it's from either Michaels or AC Moore. It's, you know, rounded soft copper wire, like artistic brand or something. So it should be relatively easy to find. And I am going to put my beads on here. I'm going to slide them down a little bit, give myself a couple of inches. And now I'm gonna, put my little eggs so they're all as close as they can get, like this. I'm gonna take my pliers, or you can just do this part with your hands, and I'm just gonna twist so that it's now closed up and my eggs are secure. They're not going to fall off. So here's this next part that's really up to you. We're basically going to wind this wire around and around and make a nest out of it. Something that I personally like to do is to crinkle up this wire. And you can either use pliers, like round nose pliers to do this, or regular pliers. See what I'm doing? I'm just bending it, sliding down, bending it, sliding down. So you can make something like this. You can make smaller waves if you use just like the very tip of your round nose pliers, like this. See the difference? You can use regular pliers and make sharper little bends. Whatever that you want to do, you can do the combination of all these things, because as long as your wire is not perfectly straight and smooth, as long as it's all bumpy, it'll look more natural, because nests are not made of perfectly straight sticks. They're made out of all kinds of crooked little twigs. So I'm just going to go ahead and do this for a while. You don't have to do this to the entire wire, but just do it for a bit, and then you can do more and more, like little bits at a time, because you don't really know exactly how much of this wire you're going to want to use for your nest. As you're making your nest, you're going to take a look and you're going to, decide for yourself, is this enough? Is it getting too bulky looking, too big? Do I want to stop? Do I want to keep going? So you may not use all of this wire. So once you've made some bumps of some sort in your wire, you want to go ahead and just wrap this just right around. Keep this wire, if you want, just like point it to the back like this for now, to get it out of the way, and just keep wrapping. And you don't need this like super duper tight, but it's good if there isn't any huge gaps in there as you're doing this. So after a little bit, I've wrapped the part that I had made wavy. I'm going to do a little bit more waves, and then I'll show you what to do next. Alright, so now you're going to find the end of your wire, here it is, and kind of hold your nest tight. Mine is starting to unravel a little bit. I'm just going to tighten it up. There we go. That looks good. And you take this and you just put it through just anywhere like inside of the eggs. because you want to connect it to that frame that your beads are on, basically, like that. And then you can do that, so that connected right there, kind of right in between those beads, see that? And then you can just kind of move down and do it again. Just kind of hold your wire. If you pull your wire super tight, like here's my wire, if I pull it super tight, it's going to go right there and like overlap and go on top of this egg. So I want to hold that wire in place as I do this so that it doesn't do that. And now I'm going to do it up here. So I'm making like three little connections there, securing that inner base. And because I had run out of the little waves, my wire is straight. See how straight it is right there? So if you want, you can just go in with your pliers and make some bends. And you can do this anytime to any part of your nest if it feels like it needs more bumps, or you just want to move the wires in like a different spot or something. You can definitely do that. So now I'm going to go ahead and bend my wire some more so that I can keep going with this. This is just the very beginning of our nest. It's still very see-through. It doesn't look much like a nest yet. Alright, so I've gone on for a little longer there, and what I'm going to do is just keep wrapping. So now you can move this wire. Oops, it snapped off. Alright, so I'm going to show you what to do if your wire snaps off. New plan. I'm going to wrap this for a little while. To thicken up my nest. Trying to keep it nice and tight. Don't worry, I'll get to that part about that wire there that snapped. That was going to be our bail. Alright, so I wrapped a little more. Sorry if it's hard to see, I'm just trying to keep all this tight so it doesn't unravel. I'm going to connect right there again, the same way I did before, just kind of put it through the beads, and then if your wire moves and it's like on top of your beads, you can just, with your fingers or your pliers, just move it out of the way. I'm going to connect 3 times again, just to make sure it's all nice and connected and it's not going to fall apart. And I'm going to go ahead and take my pliers. I want to move that wire. There we go. I wanted it to pop through those beads. It was kind of stuck there in the middle. There we go. I'm going to bend some of that so it's wavy to match the rest of the nest. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this one more time. I essentially kind of wrapped this wire twice to secure it, and the reason I did this is because we snapped off, or I snapped off that wire. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave a little bit of wire here like this. And that is going to end up being my bail later on. Put it through, but I'm not going to pull it all the way through. I'm going to make sure that this, like enough of this stays so that it can, it's okay if it's like misshapen, we'll fix it later, but enough so that it can be a decent bail. I'm just going to put it through again, this time not through all the eggs, but just somewhere here on the edge, just wherever you can get your wire through. And I'm going to go ahead and make more bumps as I run out. Alright, so now I'm going to flip this to the back, and I'm going to just twirl this around to cover some of the back here. Just kind of like this or so. I mean, you can do more if you want it to be just like super duper covered. It's up to you. And then you want to go ahead and attach by just sticking your wire through anywhere that you can get it through, and just attach as long as it grabs that back there and connects it to the rest of our nest. And what you can do is just test it. See, I can pick up this whole portion here, so obviously it's not completely attached. So I'm going to go ahead and put my wire through there and attach it. And you can kind of test it some more. You can even put this wire across, and now my wire's ending, it's pretty short here. I'm going to go ahead and just wrap it around whatever it can reach here. I'm going to grab this little end and I'm just going to wrap it a few times, and I'm going to make sure that that little end is out of the way, kind of tucked in there somewhere. And pinch that away. So here is what the nest is looking like. And if you had still had this wire sticking straight up, you could, you know, just make a loop with it and just attach it, just wrap it around something. What I like to do is I like to use that wire that I just kind of tucked away, and I like to just wrap it around to make this like a little prettier and a little thicker and sturdier. But I didn't get a chance to do that because I had run out of wire. So another thing that I'm going to show you is how to add more wire. Maybe you didn't cut yourself a piece long enough. And so what you want to do is cut yourself another piece now. Show you what it would have looked like if you didn't break that wire. Now go ahead and I'm going to cut that because I know that this wire keeps going and it's secure. This is not going to just like pull out of there. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to wrap my new wire around. So either wrap the end of your other wire around if you didn't break this off like me, or if you want to add more wire, get a new piece and wrap it around. Because I think this makes just for a prettier looking bail. Alright, so now that this is pretty much done, grab this little tip of my wire, make a little loop so it's not sharp. And then this little end where I started this wire, I started wrapping it around. Here's a little end of it. Go ahead and curl that inwards. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to curl that inwards and just tuck it away so it's just all tucked away now, no sharp ends sticking out. Like round nose pliers to give it that nice rounded look. So this is going to be our bail. I'm going to go ahead and just stick my wire right through here. Just pull it all the way through. Got stuck somewhere. There we go. So now the bail is attached. You're going to be able to hang up your piece. Take a look what it looks like from the front and adjust it. So if you weren't adding any more wire and you were just doing this with the end of your wire, then you would be done. But if you are adding more wire, then now of course we have this wire. So now you can do whatever that you want with that extra wire. If you want to kind of try and cover the back a little more, maybe you don't want those kind of showing through there like they are for me right now. Maybe you want to add it on the sides and make this nest a little wider. It's totally up to you and your preferences. And I do want to also mention that even though I make my wire all bumpy and curly, because I personally like that, maybe you like the way that it looks with straight wire. That's definitely another option of how to go about this, and I don't want you necessarily ruling that out just because I don't do it that way. So that appeals to you, then that may be something that you might want to try also. So since I added more on the back, I'm just attaching that. I'm just sticking my wire somewhere through the back and just kind of up the side, wherever it comes out there. The beauty of these is that they're very kind of organic, messy looking, so you don't really have to be precise or neat with this if you don't want to. And so that back is attached. Nothing, if I, run my fingers, try to catch on something and get it to pull away, nothing's coming up. Here's what it's looking like from the front. Another thing you can do with this extra bit of wire, if you don't necessarily want to do the back or make the nest any wider, is just to put it through these edges, just kind of random spots, just to add a little more wire to them. Especially if you're looking through it and there's any obvious gaps and you want to just kind of cover up and fill in those gaps so that your nest is not see-through. You can just go ahead and just add your wire in there. And that also helps everything stay together too. A little extra security. So I'm pretty much done here with my wire. I think I'm satisfied with my nest here. So I'm going to try and push my wire so it goes just somewhere in the back. I'm going to go ahead and just move this wire off of my egg. There we go. So I'm happy with this. I don't want to add any more wires anywhere. I'm all set. So what I'm going to do now is just take this wire and pick any place at all to kind of wrap it around. Somewhere in the back, preferably. So I'm going to wrap it around one more time. I'm trying to get it around either that same wire or group of wires that I wrapped around before, or just really close to there. Alright, just pull that tight and trim that off. Leave yourself just a teeny little end, like this much. I'm going to just take my round nose pliers and curl that end in there, and then take my regular pliers and just kind of pinch that curl closed. So there's no chance of you feeling that end, it's just all tucked in there. And one thing that I do want to point out real quick is because this is enameled wire, if you're not careful and you just really pinch it with your round nose pliers or your regular pliers. I'm just going through, by the way, and I'm just adjusting anywhere that I want to adjust my wire, where it feels like maybe it's, it's kind of sticking up, like I'm worried about this being visible from the front, so I'm just kind of pushing it down a little bit. So what I was saying is that you can scratch it. You can scratch this coating off, and you'll be able to see the copper underneath. The shiny copper color. And it will oxidize with time and get darker, the copper, or you can oxidize it if you have the materials necessary for that. And it will, get darker and match more, and it'll look better if you're using like a dark color wire, like a brown or a black. But if you're using, say you're using like silver, and you scratch it off, then it's noticeable, and then when it oxidizes, it is even more noticeable. So in that case, you just want to be really, really careful and try not to scratch up your wire. You can use nylon pliers as well. Those are gentle on the wire and they won't scratch it, but they can be a little difficult to use because they're kind of slippery. So that's it. Here's a little nest. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.